Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Lord. And today, I welcome you all in our program, The Word Became Flesh. Today, our gospel is taken from the Gospel of John, chapter 6, verse 1 to 15. And it is also known as the feeding of the 5,000. In this text, we see that Jesus has already crossed to the far shore of the Sea of Galilee, the Sea of Tiberias. And a great crowd of people followed him because they saw the signs he had performed by healing the sick. Then Jesus went up on a mountainside and sat down with his disciples. Take note, the Jewish Passover festival was near. And so this is the reason why people gathered together. So in this verse, when people gathered around Jesus and his disciples, Jesus had this compassion to his people. He talked to his disciples. Basically, he talked to Philip. And he asked Philip this question: where shall we buy bread for these people to eat? So Philip, without in mind that he is being tested, automatically answered to Jesus, it would take more than a half year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have a bite. Philip started to count the probable cost. It is as if he is saying, the situation is hopeless. Nothing can be done. No? Wala nang magagawa pa. And putting ourselves on the shoes of Philip, we can feel the same way. Like Philip, we also have been in the difficult situations of our lives. Meaning, there is no solution to it. And like Philip, there is another disciple, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, who spoke up. Actually, he brought along with him a boy. And he said, here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among us? Take note of that last phrase. But how far will they go among so many? Even Andrew is put on a particular situation where he himself was tested. With the loaves and fish in front of him, he found it nothing compared to what was needed just to feed the 5,000. And so, in the point of view of Andrew, it is also very difficult to feed this 5,000. And like Philip, feels like it's impossible. But you know what? In this gospel, what is commendable here is the act of the little boy. He gave what he had during that time: 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fishes. And the boy here showed a character that each of us should emulate, that each of us should follow. He shared what he had. And so Jesus, having now the opportunity to perform the miracle, gave thanks, distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted, so everybody was fed. But some biblical scholars said that it was not actually a miracle made by Jesus. But what happened, according to them, is that it is a miracle of sharing. Seeing the boy's example and Jesus together with the disciples distributing those food, everybody followed the example. They took also what they have and shared to the rest. But you know what? Personally, I am a miracle believer. And what I believe is this: what happened is a true miracle of Jesus. In performing his miracles, Jesus wished to work through people. Here he took what a young child offered and used it to accomplish one of the most spectacular miracles recorded in the Gospels. What amazes us all is knowing that after the meal, they gathered the leftovers and filled 12 baskets still. They had more than enough. God provided the people with what they needed more than enough. God gives in abundance. You know, and this is the message of the 12 baskets filled with food. And so we are being reminded by Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20. God can do abundantly more than you can imagine. Now, are you in a situation like that of Philip and Andrew? Are you now in a situation that seemed to be impossible and hopeless? Today's gospel is saying to us, saying to you, don't underestimate what God can do for you. Have you experienced when a sudden help comes along your way? When you have nothing and a help came along in whatever disguise it could be? When someone gives you what you needed, even if he or she was the least that you could ever expect. And it is not because they knew about you. Because preferably, they just wanted to share like that little boy. Let us always remind ourselves that God supply all your needs. And so today, the clear message or challenge of the gospel that we have today is as simple as this. In an impossible and hopeless situations, let us learn to trust God, for Jesus is the God of the hopeless situation. May the good Lord continue to bless us as we are blessed by His word. Amen.